Why don't we see good action-adventure movies anymore? I was looking through some old pulp action-adventure illustrations the other day, and I was thinking, man, why in the world don't we see films like this? I mean, for every decent action-adventure movie, there's just some slop that comes out after it. For every decent Mission Impossible, we have an Uncharted flop with Tom Holland. For every Indiana Jones, we have some cheap mid-level movie that Netflix churns out that just doesn't appeal to anybody. I'm looking at you, gray man, with my boy Ryan Gosling. Why is it that there aren't any good, fun, action-adventure movies in theaters anymore? Don't get me wrong, there are a ton of just, I would say, mid-level adventure movies. There are a ton of Fast and Furious movies that I guess are action-adventure, but that's not really the vibe I'm going for. Let me help you understand what I mean when I say I want quality adventure movies that are a fun romp. Let me list off some of my favorite movies and TV shows and video games that maybe will help clue you in on really what I'm trying to say with this. Alright, so here's a list of a few things that I love, that I would love to see movies be more like.
What do you got in mind, McCready?
The Thing, starring your boy Kurt Russell. Indiana Jones. Twin Peaks Season 1 and 2. I have not watched Season 3. I may not. We'll see. Uncharted 4. And Gladiator.
Oh, you are in Elysium!
And for honorable mention, I'm going to throw in Back to the Future. Now, these are definitely a mismatched bunch of movies, but I think they have a few things in common. They have a smaller scale, likable story with relatable characters. So in this video, I'm going to talk about why I don't think we see movies quite like this anymore, and why I think we need to bring them back. Hey guys, if you like what you see here, do me a solid, drop a like, drop a sub. I love shooting, I love movies and video games, and my goal with this channel is to try to bring them together in some way, shape, or form. One common complaint that I've heard about movies that I still think rings true is that a lot of modern movies don't feel very grounded in both scale and story. They're all spectacle and no story. Many movies revolve around world-ending bad guys that needed to be defeated and not small personal, small-scale conflicts. Take the more recent Avengers movies versus the most recent Batman that came out with Edward. One involves a purple dude that's going to wipe out the whole planet versus a weird guy with a surplus mask that Batman needs to be a detective to defeat. And yet one story is told way better than the other one. Now, I'm not saying that big, grand tales can't be engaging to watch. That's not at all what I'm saying. It just seems a little less personal. That's just my theory. Now, this is probably bro science, but I've been wondering how these famous directors these days, that they have their own style. Take Tarantino or Denis Villeneuve.
Here I come. Oh, here.
And they're hired on to create these huge, massive stories. Take Dune, for example. It was an expertly written story, expertly shot and directed by Denis Villeneuve, or however you say his name. Sorry. But what I'm curious is, where are the great directors making smaller one-off stories? And in the intro, that's why I brought up Back to the Future, because I think this is a good example of Robert Zemeckis making a small, very grounded, personal story that manages to be engaging. You don't always need to have a massive blue light from the sky that pours out aliens that blows up New York and threatens to destroy Earth. Give me some more smaller, personable stories that I can find engaging. After all, that's what a lot of these clips that I've thrown there show. They show small stories with a competent, well-written cast of characters that you are engaged with as you watch. Now, don't get me wrong. One of my favorite video games of all time is Uncharted 4. And that has some pretty wild moments. But I think woven into the game is a very heartfelt and personal story about a dude and his wife and the thrill of adventure. And this is a good example of what I would like to see in a lot of movies. Some spectacle, but a wonderful, heartfelt story. Yeah. There's a lot of chatter about not making original stories these days, and I think there is merit to this critique. But there have been some great movies that aren't original ideas that have been bangers. But yeah, I do think they are few and far between. So writing a creative original story would be great and a refreshing change-up on the movie industry. It's a bit stale, but by no means is it a total loss. For my personal taste, it's hard to balance a lighthearted tone like Indiana Jones and not make it into a surface-level, forgettable action movie, but I think that's where we're really lacking. As I'm writing the script, I realized that I just want the overall quality of movies to be better and stand out against the bland, uninspired movies that are pumped out to the masses. I have no doubt that some of my favorite movies were churned out to a very wide audience, but they seem to have a much better quality than the average action-adventure film today. Anyway, if you have any comments or ideas, throw them down below. I would love to hear your take on some great movies or maybe some things that the movie industry can change. If you like what you see here, do all that YouTube stuff. It'd be great.